There's a famous story from the Baal Shem Tov. It occurred around the same period we find ourselves in, about these winter months that are filled with festivals for all different types of religions and cultures. And the Baal Shem Tov was in the study hall, and he overheard the conversation of two of his students. They were talking about a certain festival that was going on at the moment. You see, a lake had frozen over, the one said, and now that lake was used as an ice rink, and they would go, these non-Jews, and they would skate there, and they would have festivity and parties there, and they would carve idolatrous images, crosses, and the like into the ice. And as the Baal Shem Tov overheard this discussion, suddenly he turned to them and he says, "Wait, where is this festival happening? I want to see it." The students were taken aback. Our holy Rebbe wants to see such a terrible, terrible festivity, something so idolatrous. How could it be? Rebbe, it's really not for you, they said. Baal Shem Tov said, "I said I want to see it. Let's get the carriage, the sled. Let's get out of here. Let's go check it out." Students were surprised, but they listened. Off they went to the frozen over lake that now had become an ice rink, and there they saw them skating, and they saw people carving these idolatrous images into the ice. After a few moments, the Baal Shem Tov turned back to the student and he says, "Okay, let's go back. I've had enough." They finally came back to the study hall, and the student went up to the Baal Shem Tov. He said, "Rebbe, I got to ask you, why did you want to go to such a horrible place? We told you it wasn't for you. And I mean, Rebbe, you've taught us that there's a lesson that can be learned from everything. What lesson can we learn from such a terrible, terrible place like that?" So the Baal Shem Tov said, "Indeed, there was a purpose for my trip, and indeed, I found a lesson there." They said, "Please, Rebbe, teach us, share with us this lesson." The Baal Shem Tov said, "You see, when there is warmth, then there is waters, living waters that sustain and give life. But even those waters that are life-giving, when coldness creeps in, it becomes hardened, and then it can fall to the worst type of idolatry known to man." What the Baal Shem Tov was saying is so profound. He's saying that there has to be a fire, a light inside of us, a heat radiating from us. Whether it's our relationship with each other or our relationship with God, it cannot be cold. For when it becomes cold, it lacks feeling, and it can become something that is so opposite of holiness. We can never allow our relationship with each other or our relationship with Hashem to become cold. We need to keep that flame alive, that passion, and that comes from not seeing the relationship as a burden, as a requirement or an obligation, as something I have to do, but rather understanding that this is love, this is something I want to do, to come to it with passion and desire and yearning, and to continually add fuel to that fire to make sure that it doesn't become cold over, and it doesn't, God forbid, turn to something that is hardened, that is, God forbid, potentially idolatrous.